Morning everybody, Jody from Average AF. I'm just going to read you one of my blogs that I wrote because I write a lot of information into these things and some people don't like reading and some people don't like listening to me talk. So I'm sorry that I'm reading it to you like a book, but I think it needs to be said. So if you're out there listening, listen to what I think about the voices in our head. The biggest thing I've learned over the years is that people hear voices inside their head for all sorts of reasons. What those voices say and how much impact they have on their daily actions is the variant. For me, I've always believed that the voices meant madness. I don't believe that anymore. My story of them is one of negative influences in my childhood from a mixture of exposure of tough times, bullying at school and at home. These eventually grew into the voice of self-doubt that fed my daily actions, which used to plague my thoughts during quieter times. These influences triggered me in a fight mode, where once I'd been the victim of bullying, my survival instinct took over and I became one, always attacking first, so to never have to be found out on the defensive. Never following the rules as a way of ensuring I couldn't be picked on for trying my hardest and it not being good enough from friends, the school, and my hard-ass stepfather. Sorry, Scotty's not here to defend himself. The problem with wielding such fake power is over the years, eventually the voice starts to turn on you as you mature and the fight starts to become less needed in your aging, quieter life. The very voice that used to spur you on, do it, steal it, break it, rebel, hurt them like you're hurting, suddenly became a questioning one, like it never played a part in helping you survive. A terrible little backflip like a mate who dobs on you first in the face of the principal for an act that you both concocted. For me, my success as a father, sportsman, business owner and healthy human in my 20s silenced the doubter for a long time. But in my early 30s, when I lost my grandfather, my stepfather, ended a long-term relationship with my kids, being at the tail end of that, and then my business in about 4 successive years, it became clear quickly that the voice in my head had just been quietly waiting for the day when it could proudly say, "Ha, I told you that you were a fuck up. Everyone said you would never make anything of your life. You are exactly the loser your fake friends and angry stepfather said you were." Once my self-doubt knew it had my full attention again, the anxiety and depression planted its seed and rooted itself deep in my soul for years, preying on any negative thought or feeling in my body and using adrenaline to amp up its effect. One such example, I'll go for a run because I'm feeling great, I'd think. 200 metres into it and the first of my knee pains from 2 ops kick in subtly into my thoughts and bam, the voice, "Jesus, you'd better stop running. You're so fat that if your knees give out that you may lose your job." Shut up, I think, as though the two thoughts are from different people. I'm just warming up, like I have to justify that to myself. A kilometre later and my heart rate is up from a hill. Fuck dude, you better not push it too hard. You're old and very unfit at the moment, negative me says. Bullshit. I like that feeling. I like the feeling of pushing hard through the pain barrier, positive me replies. Yeah, but even fit people drop dead all the time, and you aren't one of them. Again, from the grandstand comes my inner prick. So I slow my rate and almost instantly become aware of every breath and ache in my body. Tension becomes fear and fear becomes fuel for the doubter. By the time I get home from the invigorating 4K run that did nothing but good for my body physically, I'm mentally a mess and spend the rest of the day trying to calm my mind down. It had won again. This is just one of the many stories I'd like to share about my experiences with my depression and anxiety and how I've managed to keep on fighting and learning as I go and how to keep myself in check for the good of my health and my family and friends. That's the reality of what a voice inside people's head really look like. And I'm finished reading, just so you know that I'm back to being a human again. But the problem is with it at every single level that I talk to people who are having issues, most of them, a lot of them come from people's little voice in their head, giving them that little, you're not good enough, you won't make it, just give up. It's just easier if you stop now. and why not? That's the thing that scares me about school, is that we spend so many years in school calling out failure as a bad thing. If you don't study, you will fail. If you don't listen, you will fail. If you don't understand, you will fail. So we're terrified of failure by the time we finish school. And whoever that voice is in your head, dad, mum, bully, teacher, family friend, whoever it is, it's it's often not your own voice, and that's probably the most terrifying part about it, is that we can actually separate it in our mind. But it doesn't mean you're crazy, and it does mean that it's fixable. But it is quite comical when you're aware of it and argue with yourself more or less in your mind about how you're feeling, because once that self-doubt voice gets too loud, it's nearly impossible to beat. So work on that. Work on that voice, work on telling that voice to shut up, find out who that voice is, find out why you need to please them so much. Are they still an influence in your life? Get rid of them. If they're not an influence in your life, find a way to silence them, but understand that you don't need to make everybody approve of what you're doing. You only need to sort of back yourself. If you can back yourself and wholeheartedly put your hand on your chest and say that, yep, you might be a victim of circumstances, but having a shit life and then having someone to blame doesn't make it any less of a shit life. So you need to fix the parts that you can fix, and the rest will be as it is. It's out of your control. But once you understand it's out of your control, it also will help you with your anxiety and depression, because you're not so focused on things that are going wrong because you didn't do them. So that's my thought for today. Long-winded as usual, but I just thought if you didn't like reading the information in the blog, it might be easier to listen to. Have a great Sunday. I'll see you out playing some games and post some more videos. If you know anything about social media, shares are the go, or hearts are the go. Likes do nothing for perpetuating the viewers in these videos. So yeah, help me out. There's a lot of people out here that need to hear this. Maybe not you today, but maybe you tomorrow, unfortunately. Thanks.